Good evening, one and all, and welcome to a very special edition of the Georgetown Tea House. This is the beginning of our summer series entitled 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. As your regular host, Marcel would say, please reach out, tell a friend, don't be stingy, share the broadcast, like, and we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, we're back, and this is 15 questions at the Georgetown Tea House. For you regular viewers out there, please don't get nervous. You will be seeing Marcel shortly. All right, don't think that you're in the wrong place. Um, Tyrone, before we get started with Marcel's interview of our first guest, if you if there was a crowd, you were looking into a crowd, how do you think you'll be able to look at a particular woman and say, she has to be a Guyanese woman? What would tell you, from a crowd of people?
Wow, that's a ticklish one. I think for Guyanese women, there are so many characteristics of Guyanese women that one that will stand out for me
Hmm.
is from the crowd. It's basically the way, if she's speaking, the way she speaks.
Hmm.
All right, if she's speaking, the way she speaks. But if it's a crowd where she's not speaking, then the way that she would look at you.
Okay.
I think they have a special kind of a look.
That's interesting. Augie, what would be your take? Tyrone is saying that Guyanese women got a special way they look at you. What would this way? Could you figure what that way would be, Augie?
Actually, I could speak this one firsthand because I actually married my wife because of the way that she looked at me in ShopRite. From the time I
Interesting.
look at her, I say yes, she's a Guyanese. Not just
For our viewers who may not be familiar, not all of them may be familiar with Guyanese women. Tell us about this look, Augie. This look that made you marry this woman.
it's just not an eye to eye contact. It's a flirt that has like a twist to it. It's an antics, something.
Mm.
I was thinking if I'd call her down, but she ain't gonna come on. I would call her down and let her show you what is an antics that I just noticed just Guyanese women just have.
Right,
It's
right.
like not just an ordinary look. It's like a little bit of a twist, but like like the head goes back and the look up and down, but you could tell she interested. It's like
But,
yeah.
Yeah,
okay. So how would you describe the look, Tyrone?
I think what Uncle Augie is talking about here, what we call a slight cut
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, a slight cut or a slight and the kotai has a little bit of sweet eye in it. So it's
Mm.
a combination, a mixture of how they look at you from head to toe.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
right,
almost like
right.
you said, like, what are you watching me for? I don't want you to stop, but what are you watching me for?
We watch him
You know,
up
it
here.
gives you like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
with
All
a
right,
serious
all
face,
right.
with no smile, with a serious kind of face. But
Mhm.
the look actually draws you in.
Right.
Mm.
It's not a
Mhm.
look
Okay.
that we see, pushing, but look actually draws you in.
Right, right, right. Interesting, interesting. All right. My first question to you, as Christian men and as Guyanese men, and Tyrone again, I will go to you first. How do you think Eve had Eve been a Guyanese woman, how would she have dealt with the devil at the tree? Let's say Eve was Evette, how was she going to deal with Satan?
I wonder why you sent me first on that one.
You're the Bible scholar.
I think you'd have had a hard time.
Okay.
You
Well,
you'd have had
one of our views is saying a heist and a lick down.
yes. With the eyes, she would have given from head to toe, as Uncle Aggie said,
Mm,
head to toe. As the person online says, high up, lick down kind of eye
mm.
contact. But I believe you'd have had a hard time with if it's a guy, a difficult time.
Okay. Somebody saying
Because
Evil's Guyanese. What do you say to that, Augie?
because the thing is, sometimes they play very hard together.
Mm.
They play
Right, right.
that difficult role. That difficult role sometimes. They play an extremely difficult role.
You see, I
Knowing
watch,
that
I hearing that word in there that says sometimes. That means not all the time.
Right, all right,
I
all
would
right.
have to say depend on which part of Guyana Yvette would have been, because
Mm,
I know like my wife is a Barbadian and it's just I think Satan, I think he would have gotten one of those me ain't eating though.
don't. You're eating you're
Wrong.
eating what you don't know about, right?
I wonder if she was a Bostonian or
No, well, it would be war, right? Yeah, that's a serious question, though, Tyrone, because I mean, if she was a Bostonian, and even if she had slipped and eaten the fruit, and God say you gotta go, it might have been a hard time getting she to leave, right? All
Mhm.
right. We'll go to the first question. So here is Marcel.
My name is Marcel, and with me this evening is Abigail McDonald. She will be answering 15 questions. Abigail, are you ready?
I don't know.
Okay.
See.
All right. So imagine you're in a large conference hall about to give a talk about your life. Tell us, how would you introduce yourself?
I would probably introduce myself by stating what is obvious, that my palms are sweaty, that my thighs are shaking, that I was nervous, and that anxiety has been a part of my life story from childhood. And because of it, I've spent my entire life um, being a social recluse almost, giving speeches, anything to take the attention off of myself, I tended to navigate. So I would first acknowledge that because I think the way that I have managed that um, throughout the years is to not see it as a crutch necessarily, but just something that I have been called to navigate. And so, even though now I'm talking to you, I am nervous, my hands are sweaty, my thighs are shaking, I'm still here. And this is something that Abigail 10 years ago would not have done. So I would start from that space. Because it's a conference, I guess I could say that I'm a cybersecurity consultant, and I have so many passions, cybersecurity being one, but I am also passionate about social justice issues. I'm a big believer in equal rights. I'm an advocate. Um, and although some people struggle with this identity as well, I would own my identity as a feminist as well. Um, and of course, the biggest part of my identity is my love of God. So that's really how I would introduce myself.
Augie, does she sound like a Guyanese woman? I mean, based on how she says she's gonna introduce herself. What are your thoughts?
Born in Guyana, risen in America.
That's the vibe you get.
That's what I heard. That's the vibe I got. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what about you, Tyrone?
I would say that she sounds like the cool kind of Guyanese.
Mm. And any guess as to listen as you listen to her, where in Guyana she may have been born? And any clues there?
I would lean more to the Georgetown area because she sounds like risen with not just, let me say, not out in the open, like I said, a tight knit, strict family. That's where I would put her in some part of Georgetown.
Okay, and what purpose driven Arundella? She's agreeing with you that it might well be Georgetown. Let's continue the conversation with Abigail.
This morning, so last night I went to bed a bit late, and my goal this morning was to spend the first hour, praying and journaling, and then head straight into some gardening. And so I got up and it was 7, which is an hour later than I wanted to. And I said, I'm late. So really, the first thing that came to me this morning was, I'm late. And then, I said, okay, but that's okay. And I paused.
Okay. And how was the gardening?
It reminded me of my age.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Too much bending, I assume.
Too much bending, peeling all around.
And then the age that followed it.
Yes. So I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Moving on. When you pray, have you ever found yourself listening out for an actual response from God? Or do you simply look forward to whatever changes in the coming days?
I think prayer has always been an act of surrender for me. So I don't necessarily know that I look forward to the changes in the coming days, but I put what I would like out. I surrender what is in my heart to God, and I just let the chips fall where they may be. It's always been an act of surrendering for me.
Tell us one big way in which COVID has changed your life forever.
I think that I have always had the quiet sense that life is fragile. I have dealt with loss and death from childhood. But somehow or the other, COVID, hit that home to me even more. Um, and so I would say that, I remember March the 12th, coming home from a class,
Right.
walking in the door, and I was home still a year later. And just it just taught me how fragile life is, not only from the perspective of death, but from the perspective of routines. The things,
I
the
know.
simple things that you do on a daily basis, how quickly it could change.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what COVID has taught me the most.
All right. In her first response, she was responding to the question, what was her first thought as she woke up, on waking up this morning? Augie, do you think we men and women typically, when, after night's rest, that we think of distinctly different things? Would you say that they're very different things on our mind, as we rise to face another day?
Yes. Mainly because when a man wakes up in the morning, well, that depends. Is he married or single?
He's married or he has a significant other.
Yeah, and we have another alternative on our mind when we could wake up in the morning.
What about you, Tyrone? You think there's a very big difference?
There's a big difference.
Hmm.
That's on the lighter side. Women think of money, men think of how to make it.
Man, think about that's a very interesting take there. Have you um you know as you look, I know, okay, most days you may start your own day with a prayer, and something like that.
Mhm.
Um, have you ever sat and really like wondered just what is going through the mind of women, or as they rise up to face the day?
Honestly speaking, I think I stopped doing that.
You stop, or you used to.
I used to try to wonder, and then I realized, no, I can never figure it out, so leave it alone.
You give up. You give up on now.
Yep, yep, yep. Whatever it is, let it be.
Okay, I
Yeah.
hear that. Okay,
I'd have
now
to agree with Tyrone on that one. Yeah, because I said it doesn't matter what she's thinking. I'm gonna
let's
find out within the next 15 minutes. Watch and see.
whatever she's
Yes,
thinking.
I'm
Right.
gonna find out.
and, and the other thing is to, yes, you might be thinking what she's thinking, and you're correct. So
Hmm.
you're correct on that thing today. And the same instance, a few minutes later, is a totally different idea and thought pattern behind it altogether. So,
Different. All right, let's
yeah.
continue.
What's your favorite Guyanese lunch?
Oh gosh, I'm an eat well. How do I narrow that down?
Mhm.
um, Probably meta.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I know you well, I believe, and I would have never said Metem. I mean, it would have been one of the things, but
yeah, it
so
could
Metem. Okay,
it,
so tell us, what do you like in your Metem?
everything,
Uh-huh.
and even a little bit of okras at the side. Have
A
you
little bit of
okras at the
oh,
side?
okay, because
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say first,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
So you
anyway,
just sneak it in there.
yeah, anything with a little okra at the side, you know. But I know my mom, they cooked metem today, so metem is kind of on my mind as well. So yeah, I would say metem.
Okay. Loud coconut milk.
Loud coconut milk, the dumpling thick.
The dumpling and the dust child.
Hello, duff dumpling, tomato, tomato.
Oh wow, you don't let these guys play you?
Yeah. Duff,
Stupidness is this.
duff.
Your dumpling is one is the rock hard ones, the one that's very soup. And
Well,
duff is the ones that there's been the nice soft fluffy ones.
yeah. All right.
Yes,
All right.
the
So
good duff.
duff it is.
What is your favorite Guyanese soda?
What's my favorite Guyanese soda? Cream soda. Cream soda. I mean, cream soda. You know what I would like to have? Some red Fanta or some orange Fanta. You remember Fanta?
Of course, that's the proper thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I don't even, do they still have that?
they do actually. If I'm to say they're here as well in New York.
Have you ever had cream soda and milk?
Yes, as a child, and I hate it.
Oh,
That's one thing I hate.
I loved it. Yeah.
Everybody I know love cream soda and milk, and
Yeah.
I am probably the one child that hated it.
Yeah. I love cream soda. I think cream soda would be it fit, not just for the taste, but the fact that I could use cream soda to do baking, vegetarian baking. You know,
Really?
yes, I've used cream soda.
So,
Um,
I mean, okay, you're schooling me now. You're schooling
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. So
What do you do with this?
it's kind of like an egg substitute.
Oh wow, I
Yeah,
never heard that.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
wow, that's beautiful.
yeah. So
That's
cream soda.
beautiful for cream soda. All right, moving on. If you had not been born in Guyana, which Caribbean country would you have liked to be a native of?
I don't know. I don't know that I can answer that. I don't think I have traveled enough, but I guess I could say Barbados.
Okay.
I could say Barbados because, you know, if I could think of any type of bum that I would love to be, it would be a beach bum.
Okay.
You know, so I love the sand, I love the scenery, you know. It's just awe-inspiring in so many ways. But probably that. I also like Barbados because it's small as well. And it
Okay.
feels a little intimate, you know.
Right.
I would say Barbados, but the truth is I have not traveled enough um, to give a shot.
To really choose.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, folks, you tuned in to 15 questions at the Georgetown Tea House. With me is Uncle Augie, and we have Tyrone Munford. Tyrone, if you meet a Guyanese girl and she doesn't know the difference between duff and dumpling, is she Guyanese?
I would have to agree that she's a Guyanese. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I prefer the duff to look like dumpling.
You prefer the duff to look like
Yeah,
dumpling.
in other words, in Guyanese language, I prefer the duff fall.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yep, yep. I
So
prefer the duff
you like
fall.
them
I,
stiff thing where, you got
yeah,
like,
yeah, man. I remember once I went to a youth camp with some young people, and they could met them.
mm,
Imagine the exchange my good dove for their fall dove. I end up with a plate of fall dove. It was about seven of them, and I
wow.
enjoyed it.
You enjoyed
So
it.
whether she mix up dumpling and duff, it doesn't matter to me. I prefer the duff that fall. Huh?
You cool with that. What were you arguing?
I'm a solid dumpling all the way. I mean, duff, light it fluffy, but nah, I take the duff. I need it to stick to my teeth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
too
you guys are really like the
fluffy.
baking powder stuff that floating up and thing.
Nah.
Now, in vegetarian cooking, have you guys encountered anyone who would have used soda, cream soda, or any other type of soda as an egg substitute?
Yes.
No.
I actually just finished a medical missionary course.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was cooking. I was making banana nut bread and converting my recipe over to vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that we were able to use applesauce
Okay.
as a substitute, which applesauce eggs didn't make any. I couldn't get the correlation there.
Right,
Then
right.
later on, it was told to me, yeah, you could use things like cream soda, applesauce. There are other like substitutes, including what's this? It's a seed
Mm-hmm.
they use. I forgot what it was called. I remember later. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Interesting. Yeah, we learned something there from Abigail. All right, we'll be moving on.
What's your preferred approach to cleaning a badly burnt pot?
What's my best approach?
Yes, your preferred approach.
Let me tell you something.
Cleaning a
Evolved.
badly burnt pot.
So I would say a little salt. Didn't you use salt?
Really?
I would say a little salt and also some detergent. Just allow that to soak for a little bit and then just elbow power. You know,
Salt. What do you think the salt does?
I'm not sure. Last year, COVID did a lot of things.
Right,
Last
right.
year, I saw a video with the salt.
Really?
Yeah, and of course, naturally, because I am not the best cook in the world, I had an accident, and it worked.
Oh,
It
oh
worked.
wow. I have to try that because I've never tried that because I
Yeah.
thought you would have said stand, you know, because we all know back in the day, it was standard edible grease, but
Mhm.
yeah, but
Mhm.
salt. Oh,
Salt.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I have to try it. I have to try it. My pots aren't too badly burnt, but they're burnt enough.
I've had it.
So I'll definitely try that.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Should we always dress for the occasion?
Mhm.
Should we have church clothes, work clothes, karaoke clothes, party clothes, night clothes, sleeping clothes, etc.?
I will tell you that so far, this is the hardest question you've asked me. Because I don't, yes, because you know that I believe your best self is showing up as your true self. So for me, I'm not sure um, that we should think in terms of having this variety, because we could lose our identity in that. Having said that, I do think that there is clothes that are appropriate for different occasions.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that the wardrobe should be so diverse necessarily. I think there could be a gap. So that's always a thing for me.
Okay. Because I remember years ago you'd have clothes for all different occasions. You would never wear. You actually had morning clothes and afternoon clothes. If you remember too.
Oh yeah,
You know. Clothes
morning, afternoon, and night wear.
yes, yes, yes,
And there was a distinction, although not now necessarily, but there was
yes.
a distinction between work and church.
Exactly. Yes.
And
Now,
now,
the two kind of fuse
yeah.
somehow. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay, you're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House. And folks, please feel free to weigh in, add your 2, your 3, your 4, your 5 cents, put it up in the comments. Let's see what's going on. Augie, you grew up in England for the most part. Growing up there, did you guys have this thing about, morning clothes, afternoon clothes, Sunday wear?
Yes,
You did have that.
we did, but to a certain extent. I mean, you wouldn't be expected to wear your church clothes inside of the yard. But
Mm.
so we did have the different wears, but it wasn't as abundant as it is here, where
Okay.
you would find a person who has, you have one pair of feet and you got 12 pairs of shoes. That
Mm.
we never got into that. It's short shoes and your plim soles and
Right.
flops if you was lucky.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. Okay. Tyra, what was your own take on this? Afternoon clothes, going out clothes. Where's your own take?
I think we should dress appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're honest with ourselves right now, people are actually wearing sleeping clothes during the day on the road. I mean, that's the reality, and you see it happening now. So I don't know if the gap between clothes for various occasions is narrowing.
Mm.
So
Okay.
so there's no distinction because again, you have men wearing ties to church, wearing
Mm-hmm.
ties to work. It's the same tie. I'm not saying the exact type, but the same look,
Right. Right.
same
Right.
look, so to speak. You see sportsmen now wearing suit and tie. The football coaches and they're wearing suit and tie. And
Mm-hmm.
growing up, we understood that suit and tie goes to church
Okay.
and not to
But but
Sunday
but would
service.
you define that as a church look? That suit and tie look? Would you
That
safely say that it is a church look?
to me, it looks like more official
Mm.
in terms of not sports activities, not sporting activities.
Right, right,
To me, it
right.
doesn't definitely look like sporting activities, but that
Okay.
has been the culture now. Where Jordan
Mm.
tell you, so I guess they dress like a manager,
Right, right,
but
right.
still on the sporting arena.
Mm. But the interesting irony about the whole thing, Augie, is some gangsters believe in the suit and tie, and some of them are oftentimes the best dressed in the room. What's your take on that?
You see, when it comes to suit and tie, I had a conversation with a guy a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact, on this same subject. And he
Mm.
says that he likes to dress and he likes to give God his best. And he says, so what if you were going to meet the Queen of England, wouldn't you put on your if you had a meeting, wouldn't you put on your best suit and shine up and this and he sounded real good with it. And then I asked him a simple question. I said, but okay, so that means your goal is to impress the Queen of England, or your goal is to impress God?
Mm.
He had no response.
Interesting. All right, we're moving on.
Um, when you think of heaven, what kind of physical environment do you see? And what happens from day to day?
Gosh, myself.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl.
Um, oh, that's a toughie for me. Um, let me give you a quick story. So last night I had a little moment and I looked up, right? And I
Right,
said, God, please, right?
right.
And then moments after I had this moment and I'm like, but Abby, why are you looking up? you know?
Yeah, I
And I,
ask myself all the time.
and I know that I have a track record for looking up. And I feel that it's something that I have to work on. Um, and I'm on this journey right now of, coming to peace with some questions that I have about life and purpose and afterlife and all those things.
Right, right.
But the one thing I think I could say is that, I'll start from the back of the question.
Okay.
So from the day to day. So I would say the day to today for me, when I think about heaven, I think of shredding myself of sin, just being rid of sin, not having to carry the burden of sin,
Right.
being enough, not questioning myself, just being enough and being one with God's will. So I hope that the day today looks like moving in that space. In terms of heaven, I think about Paul and the road to Damascus and the heavens opening up and the splendor and the wonder. I imagine that, it's something like that. I don't quite know what it looks like, but I know that I will be in awe, that it will
Right.
be perfect.
Okay, got you. Would you say that being a Christian is fun, or does it often times feel like work?
I I've never thought of being a Christian as fun.
Okay.
I've never looked at Christ's work as fun. I've looked at it as necessary work.
Oh wow.
So I've never, and I don't think at any point in my life I have had that thought, or that is something that has been impressed upon me, whether in the church, whether those people that I look up to.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. I don't know that it's not all work is bad work.
Uh-huh.
Fortunately for me, I love love. I love God, and I am very aware of my shortcomings as a person. And so it helps me to approach people with a sense of non judgment and a willingness to forgive. So it's never burdensome for me because I recognize my own shortcomings. So I don't really stand in that space of judgment too much. It's not really tough work for me.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know that I've captured the question, the way that you probably envision. So if I minimized it in any way, shape, or form, just let me know.
No, because okay, in terms of it being fun, I would imagine that fun would mean that when I go there, I go to praise God and to ask Him for forgiveness and to meet the people that I love, my brothers and my sisters there, and I'm happy, go lucky. And I don't want to encounter any negativity. I don't want it to seem as if, oh gosh, it's like I was about, oh, it's Saturday already or it's Sunday already, I have to go to church. I must want to go, that
Oh, okay. I get what you say. Well, you know what? Growing up, I used to be laughed at because I wanted to be the first person in the church because I wanted to get the hymnals first. I wanted to make sure that I had my own hymn book.
that's
Um,
what you like singing, you see?
no, but no. And I have been lucky, in my own church life to have always had community even within the church. So whether it's GIU, Jesus Invites You to Love program, whether it's youth group, I've always been connected to something, whether it's reading, I've always been connected to something that has always wanted me, and that has always allowed me to say, what a joy to go to church. So
It's never a burden. It was never a burden.
going to church and serving God has never been a burden.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Tyrone, would you consider yourself a happy Christian?
Extremely happy.
Okay, yeah. You would use that word also, Augie, to.
Definitely.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
Now, Tyrone, the question with regard to heaven, Marcel had said that, she told me that she saw streets of gold, right? And I would have asked her why gold. You know, what's your take? What do you think is the look of heaven?
I am not too sure about the streets of gold. I think that is. I think that was the best description John could have given
Mm-hmm.
to describe the beauty that he saw,
Yeah.
and the beauty that he saw. But what I know is exciting for me is just being in the presence of God without,
Okay.
I mean, in purity,
Right.
where you would see Jesus as he is for him, for who he is. And I think that's the excitement for me. The gold and the silver and what people have saw, that's material stuff. I'm not too concerned about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My excitement is seeing the person and being the presence of the person who got me into that place.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. What's your take on the look of heaven, Augie?
Well, I mean, because we are limited here in our present state, we're used to asphalt, concrete. You might get a little fancy Roman brick, but I've never pictured heaven to have those kind of impurities there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, I don't believe I would want to go to heaven just to say, oh my goodness, can you believe that's Guyana gold? Nah. But I mean, it would have to be something that's going to be pure, it's going to be clean, and it would have to be a special gold because if the sun is shining and the gold is hot,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen? So we know that it's going to be something that's, I think that's, as Tyrone said a moment ago, is just John's way of saying, okay, well, listen, it's going to be something like you've never imagined it before, but it's going to be clean, it's going to be nice, and it's not even going to be important because at that point, we wouldn't be thinking, can I take a piece of this and melt it down? We're on a different mindset. So looking
Right.
at that to say, wow, it actually is gold, that wouldn't even be our thoughts. Our thoughts will be on him.
Okay. Good. All right. Moving on. You're watching 15 Questions at the Georgetown Tea House.
Abigail, you're gonna like this one.
I can like this one. Okay.
I think so. I think so. Should a woman ever hide her shopping bag and purchase it from her husband or significant other?
Yeah. You put him in a in a spot. Yes.
Because I have. Yes, go ahead. I
but
have.
what I know for sure is that we're not saying yes for the same reason. So
Wow.
I say yes if she's surprising her significant other with something, but for no other reason. I'm a party pooper. Like I just.
But I'm hiding my goodies for other reasons. She's Abigail, you're hiding just to keep this purchase a secret. All right. Surprise.
No, I just like it because you're one, and I think even if I struggle with some issues, even if I struggle with some issues, why wouldn't my spouse know that? Nothing should be a surprise. You telling me that you could make a purchase that would totally floor Andy? Absolutely not.
Yes, because if I gonna now buy another pair of shoes after I got 11 pairs of shoes inside, but I know that this particular one gonna match this particular dress that I just bought. Yes, I will hide it.
All right, I hide nothing. Like,
All right. Because you can ask, you already got 40 shoes.
yeah,
You know, thing. I'm achieving it as that. So then before I see, you got to ask. I'm a thing.
but for me, I would say yes. I know. I have 14.
Uncle Augie, what do you do at those times where your spouse or your significant other seems to have a totally wrong concept of you? Now, you see, Marcel there would have said that if she don't hide some of the stuff, I might bother her and thing, And the irony is that I don't even look into this woman's bag when this woman come home from shopping. So what do you do when your spouse or significant other, got a totally wrong impression about you? Advice me there, Uncle Art.
Oh man, why? That would definitely have to be something on the communication because I went through that exactly the same thing where it doesn't bother me once our finances is right. I really I don't bother. Like if my wife could tell me, honey, my keys is in my purse. I don't go in her purse. I don't go in
Exactly.
purses. I don't search for phone. If I'm searching for something and I find it, I must be happy. So I'm careful to what I search for.
Tyrone Marcel is saying maybe it's our own guilt that was fueling it. I think maybe you can speak to that as a man of the word.
I have a very
That
good,
guilt that guilt sometimes can trip us.
I have a very good friend that said to me once, that used to say to me, "An empty gun shoots a guilty man. An empty gun shoots a guilty man." So the idea of hiding stuff, I think if it's a surprise, yes, I can understand that part of it. If it's
Mm,
a surprise,
I agree.
yes.
Yeah.
But if it's hiding any other stuff because your perception is that the significant other or the other who's significant will behave in a certain way, I think that's an issue. That's
mm,
an issue because I believe that in clearly expressing, allow the person the freedom to express how they feel in a very respectful way. So even if I say to you, I bought this pen, and you get upset if you buy the pen, allow me the freedom
right.
to get upset. That's my philosophy. Allow me the freedom. I will allow you the freedom to get upset too because I might do something that you don't like.
Mm,
I might have to say something to you that is hard to see that you get upset at, but I must allow you that freedom to get upset.
okay, good point. Because I was actually reading somewhere where um, this article they were given a list of things that men should understand about women,
Mhm.
and there was this one point where they say sometimes we women just like to vent. Right. So maybe we guys need to understand that sometimes she just needs to vent. All right.
I agree. Sometimes we just need, as men, we just need to listen. And
All
that's
right.
it. I'm pretty big on that. You can.
But Uncle Agi,
Talk.
sometimes when you just listen is a problem, eh?
Mm, yeah,
Sometimes when you just
Exactly.
decide, sometimes when you just decide to listen, you're not saying anything. I'm talking to you, not saying anything, but I'm just listening. You're venting, and I'm just listening.
yeah, that means you hearing.
So where do you find the balance?
So you got to give the right facial expression, and you got to show, okay, I'm with you on this. You got to nod, and I perfected it. Okay,
Exactly.
all
Exactly.
right. You got to show that you're in it. But if it's just, yeah, you asking for trouble.
Uh, all right. Let's continue on.
What kind of friend do or say
Why are
that
you
would really piss you off?
why are you smiling? What can a friend do or say that could really
That
piss?
would really piss you off.
That's a, I know that that's the question that you could answer very quickly. So my first instinct was to say that a betrayal of trust, but I think I've chosen my friends very wisely.
Okay.
So I don't think that I'll have that issue. So it feels like I would just be saying it for saying its sake. I
Okay.
think really what would piss me off is probably a friend saying something to invalidate my own opinions, to invalidate my feelings, or my own sense of being. Um, I think it will have to be something on that level because I don't. I've chosen my friends wisely. Let's just say that I don't have the just deep issues with friendships. Now God has
Okay.
been good to me as a matter of friendships, and I thank God. You know,
Look how look how you lucky. All right, moving on.
well, you should take that as a compliment.
I am. I
Okay,
am.
okay, good.
Are you okay with going gray?
You know what my first instinct was to say? Are you?
I am not. I am not. Full disclosure, I am not.
I am perfectly fine with going gray. As a matter of fact, I would probably be sad if I didn't go gray. And guess what else? Should I even say this? I don't mind going gray in all the wrong places. Listen, I mean,
Whatever that means. That's funny. Whatever that means. That's funny. Yeah.
no, but I don't mind going gray. I think Western civilization really has an issue with aging.
Mhm.
And I want to rebel against that. I
Okay.
don't want necessarily to
I,
be.
okay. I think I know from yours where you're coming from with it. With that
Oh,
your
yeah.
response.
Because the truth is, what is gray? Like, how is being gray an indictment of your identity, an indictment of beauty? How is that? And so, as a society, we have just defined beauty in some very trivial ways, as far as I am concerned.
Mm.
And so, I mean, if we really think deeply about why we have a problem with going gray, it has
Mhm.
to do with what we have what we've been conditioned to associate beauty with.
Okay.
So I'm not going to live in that space.
Okay. There's some people, Abigail, that gray looks great on. I'm telling you. The entire head is white and they still look as young as ever. And some
Mhm.
people, even though they're young, once they start to get a few spots,
Mhm.
um, they look aged. I mean,
I hope I agree. Let me tell you, I hope I agree in bulk. That is not like a scatter here, a scatter there. I hope,
yeah.
because I'm not necessarily a fan of this scattered gray. But I don't have a problem with gray. If I am fortunate to be gray, then I'm fortunate to have lived long.
I know that you see, the beautiful parts of
Mhm.
gray.
Mhm.
All right.
What's your take on that, Tyrone? I know growing up, we used to say gray, it went with wisdom. You see a guy, gray, but these days gray is just you're looking old. So what's your take, Tyrone?
I will stay with my wisdom because I have a few, and I'm not looking old.
You're one of the lucky ones, as Marcel pointed out. What's your take
No, but
there,
I think
Uncle Augie?
I tell you, God is so good. I have not even one gray hair. He blessed me with sexy silver.
Silver.
Sexy silver.
So it shines, right?
There you go. There you go. Once I call it sexy silver, it puts a different take on it. But the funny thing is that my hair is still black. But on my face, it went sexy silver. Okay. I like it. My wife likes it. Okay.
Okay, well, I think that's the important thing, right? Once she's cool with it, man,
Yes.
no problem there. All right, all right. We're gonna have question 15.
Is it possible to love more than one person romantically at a time?
Is it possible? Yes. um, I'll tell you what I think. I don't necessarily think that I'm the authority on that, but I think it's possible to love more than one person romantically at the same time. I
Okay.
think we have been conditioned from birth to love multiple people. We've been conditioned to love our parents, we've been conditioned to love our siblings, and in friendships, we've been conditioned to have love for multiple people. I think to think that romantic love, we can just do it, just when we fall in love, it just happens with one person. I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, you and I have had our conversations as well about, how I feel about monogamy. And the
Right.
truth is, I believe that monogamy is not natural and it's a choice.
Right.
And that is why, I always say that if you don't go to crab dance, you don't get bite. Um,
You don't get mud. Yeah.
or yeah, you don't get
And
much.
then or mud. Yeah. Because you can get bite. You can get be bitten as well. True.
I think sometimes, we put ourselves in a position to test ourselves. And I am not like that, you know. I believe that monogamy is a good thing. That's what I believe.
Okay.
And so my life choices romantically will always favor commitment,
Okay.
exclusive commitment. But I don't think it is impossible to fall in love with more than one person. So I choose
So you
to
but you made a choice. But you
yes,
made a choice.
yes. And I choose to make sure that my actions are in alignment with the choices that I make as well. It's
Got
not
it.
it's not enough to say, well, I am committed, but yet still I find myself in these compromising situations. So I choose to allow my actions to be in alignment with the commitment that I have made because I am not naive. And people sometimes, and I'm sorry for going on,
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, if it's love, then this wouldn't happen. Maybe it's a sign. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I believe that the flesh is weak.
Mm.
I have to protect the flesh. That's what I believe.
All right. So there you have it. Our 15 questions answered by Abigail McDonald. Thank you,
Um,
Abby.
Tyrone, as a man of the word, I will come to you on that. When it comes to romantic love or eros, as maybe sometimes defined, um, is it possible to love more than one person romantically at one time?
The nature of the flesh makes it possible, and it can become very erratic. But the nature of the flesh, I would say, will make it possible to be romantically involved in with more than one person. That's the nature of the flesh, of the carnal mind. All right, because and the thing is, the carnal mind is so deceitful that sometimes we might fool ourselves in saying that, okay, this can never happen. We cannot love. We cannot be romantically involved in more than one person. When the reality is that if we really examine ourselves and our hearts and the nature that we have, then we can see that it is possible. Is it the right thing to do? in my view, no, it's not the right thing to do. But it can happen. Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Your take, Uncle Augie.
It is very possible. Very possible. But if you don't communicate, any relationship is going to be built on communication. So if you're not communicating in a way that you're not supposed to be, we know right from wrong. I know I'm in a relationship with my wife. I need to keep that there. If I'm going to expand the barrels of communication with somebody else, I need to know where not to be at the right time, or else I'm setting myself up, because the bottom line is it's emotions. So if I allow my emotions to come in tune with a physical location, yes, it will happen. So we cannot I'd be a fool to say, okay, well, because I love my wife, I can go in this room at this time of night with this person. No, that's not a smart move to do. But yes, it is definitely possible if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Well, we've come to the end of this evening's 15 questions at the Georgetown Tea House. Any closing remarks on our first guest, Tyrone, and then I'll take Augie in terms of would you have recognized her as a Guyanese in a crowd? You know, given what we've learned about her and from her this evening.
I think it might have been a challenge to recognize her in the crowd as a Guyanese, unless you listen, unless you have a conversation with her. And I
Mm.
must say, and I must say that she did excellently in presenting herself as Guyanese, as a woman of God, and as an individual in total. She did excellent presenting herself. I
Okay.
like the way she's very calm, very cool, very collective. And that's why I said she's the cool type of Guyanese. And my
Right.
estimation is that she's either from Linden or some part of the East Coast.
I think Abby would be smiling now. Your closing remarks, Uncle Augie.
Well, from the look right off the bat, you wouldn't really be able to tell, except for I did see the little bit of the head when she got into certain questions, the eye gazing and looking around. But definitely, I would definitely have to say that once the conversation ensued, then yes, all the traits of a close knit family, a Christian family, all the good traits. Of course, I'm a Metem lover too. All the good, healthy eating habits, all these things, yes, were definitely attributes to make, or you will know definitely this is not just a Guyanese woman, but it's a well-raised Guyanese woman. So once
Guyanese.
again, I would still have to put her in the upper portions of Georgetown. I don't see that.
All right. Tyrone and Uncle Augie, thank you guys so much for coming on. To all our viewers, all of those who got very involved with the chat, thank you so much. And we hope you do join us again for this will be running all summer long. So do tell a friend, do like, share the broadcast, and we hope to see you again soon. Uncle Augie, Tyrone, thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, bless,
Thanks for
bless.
having me. Are you having any